Okay, so what we've got here is a GTX 480 that I picked up for a project that'll be coming up here in a few days. But for right now, I'm just having a little bit of fun playing with it now that I'm done with all of the additional stuff that I was going to do with it. So what we're taking a quick look right here is the fact that we are running at 85 degrees Celsius through the Firestrike stress test. Now this is completely on the stock cooler, and you have to bear with me because I have no extra lighting on here. So that's it over there. I'm going to take my mic off. I'm going to move it over closer to the card so you can get an idea of how noisy it is. Now I don't know whether that was actually audible or not. So we're going to have a little fun with this thing. Hang tight. And this here is the EVGA hybrid kit. It was originally for my GTX 980 Ti. Thankfully my daughter's got fingerprints all over it from thermal paste. So we're going to strap this sucker to the GTX 480 and have our very own GTX 480 hybrid. Alright guys, now as I get started on this, I just can't express enough how, for the love of everything that is PC gaming, this is just for fun. Like I said, I bought this for a project. I'm done with the project, and these things are so cheap that I'm just having a little bit of fun with it, because this is quite frankly the first. I mean, you can see it's even broken, like half the shroud's broken on it. So I mean, there's only one tab holding it over here on this side. So I mean, you know, like I said, just know that we're having fun here. So many people take so much of this stuff so seriously, and it's like, oh, I can't believe, why would you waste money on that? Well, the truth is, like I said, I already had the hybrid cooler and I needed this for another project that I was working on, so I ordered it up. I mean, it was, I think I paid 70 bucks for it. So I mean, like I said, all in the name of fun. In fact, here's a clip, another clip just broke out of it. So I'm gonna set it to the side, but it flew off over there. I mean, the shroud is a piece of plastic. So I mean, all right, so again, get this huge heatsink is for the VRM power delivery. Look at that, it's like a 20-year-old pile of dust there. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and take the screws loose here. It's only 4 screws for the heatsink. So as I'm sure there's going to be somebody complaining that I'm not using an electro discharge thingamabobber for my wrist. But honestly, if the card dies in the process, I don't think I've lost anything, because like I said, I've got everything I need out of this card. At this point, I'm just having a little bit of fun. Alright. Oh, there it goes. Alright, heatsink off. And you can see we've got a cat right there. And that is, oh my gosh, look at that. Thermal paste is hard and dried up. So I'm actually quite surprised the thing was only running at what is it, 85C underload, because these things were known to be really hot, and I was expecting it to be closer to 100, because I've seen people, I've even overclocked this one to 850 megahertz, I believe. I think it runs stock at 700, so I've had it to 850. Now that was with the fan at 100%, and it was getting up into the 60s, but I could run it at 800 megahertz on the stock fan profile. Never had a problem. So take that big chunk, we're going to set it to the side. Set it over there on my wife's computer. Oh my gosh, look at that. Ugh. Alright, so there we go. We're going to use first little part of this TP, and normally whenever I'm doing something that I care a little bit more about, I've got some lint-free cloths that I'll use. But right now we're just trying to, oh my goodness. It's just flicking right off of there. Yuck. Yuck. Let's see. Alright, so there we go. There's the exposed die. Now, well, I say exposed die. One thing that was fun back then, they actually used a heat spreader, obviously, on the chip. So instead of an exposed die like you get with some of the, well, any of the newer ones, these are actually a lot easier to deal with, because once you've got this drawn up thermal paste off, I mean, you could just use some 90 some odd % isopropyl here. Alright, let's go ahead. Let's get the screws out of here. In case anybody's wondering, it does line up. I already tried it before to make sure so that I wouldn't be sitting here doing this video looking like I didn't know what I was doing, even though I'm sure there's somebody going to be arguing with me, especially because I'm about to use the line method on the video card, because being that it has an IHS, you don't have to get full 100% coverage, and the die is primarily in the center. Now, if you're curious, we are using Cooler Masters Master Gel Maker Nano, and I'm going to put a pretty liberal line on here so that it does have room to spread out and push across. Throw that in the drawer, and we're done with that. Alright, so here we go. Wish I had a bigger area to work with, but you know what? It'll do. So bear with me. If I get my head in the shot, I do apologize. And there we go. We are down on it. Now, screw forward. This is more of a modern version of the old school, the mod from overclock.net, if you've ever seen or done anything like that, where they ties to secure something like this. Alright, so we got it on here good and tight, but not like overly tight. Let's see how it looks on the other side. See, you got thermal paste all over the place here. Thanks. I'd like to thank my daughter for that. Alright, so there it is. There is the hybrid cooler attached there. Now, one thing we got to do is get it down in here. Push this down in here. Now what this will do is obviously allow for the pump to run, but also allow for the fan to still spin so that it's cooling the PCB here, because it still does have all of the power delivery to keep cool as well. So, alright, so there we go. There is our EVGA GTX 480 hybrid. Now what I may do is, if it works well enough, I may go ahead and cut out everything so that it does that, so that it can help direct the airflow across the power delivery. Alright, so we're going to stop the video and we're going to put it on, well, back on the test bench and see how it does. And there you have it. It is back on the test bench with the fan kind of sitting up on top of there. Now if you're wondering why it's so noisy, if you can hear it being noisy, that's those Silverstone fans. They are loud as all get out. And here we go, back over here to the screen, and there it is. She's up and running. Now I'm going to stop the video and we're going to get it back on 3D Mark, the stress test, and see what kind of improvements we got. Alright, there you go, guys. Had it up and running, and this is about 15 minutes or so running this 3D Mark Firestrike stress test on the GPU, and you see we've topped out at 46 degrees Celsius, which is pretty impressive. I mean, that's about, I mean, that's a 40-degree drop. We're looking at, that's nearly a 50% drop on there. Now, if you're wondering why the CPU right here says 100C, I meant to point that out earlier. It's because that is an i5 6400 and it's overclocked to 4.8 gigahertz. So when you overclock those chips, it kind of breaks the thermal readings, so that's why it looks like that. Now, in the end, this was not to tell anybody to do this or anything. This was just, I had the parts, and this is what WCCF Tech Lab is all about. It's taking just random things, having a little bit of fun with it, and seeing what kind of results we get. Now I'm going to have a little bit of fun overclocking this thing and seeing just how far I can get it now that it's staying nice and cool. Alright guys, so if you want to see more stuff like this in the future, just let us know. And as always, feel free to like and subscribe, and we will catch everyone in the next video.